I'm Barry C. Harrington for Bishop W.C. Hunter and the Words of Knowledge broadcast. This month is Black History Month, and the Words of Knowledge broadcast would like to commemorate the various contributions of African Americans all across the country, as well as those within our local community. Let's take a look at this. And remember, knowledge is power.
Andrea Perry, I'd like to introduce you to a group of history-making African-American inventors and entrepreneurs whose work has changed the world as we know it. This historical information was compiled by Rita Lorraine Hubbard, the creator of the Shades of Greatness publications. Now, you may have heard of Benjamin Banneker, a black man who helped build Washington, D.C. in 1789 by memorizing the blueprints. But did you also know that Banneker built the first clock in the United States? At age 22, Banneker, who had never even seen a clock, only a watch, successfully built all the gears and wheels from hand-carved wood. The clock kept perfect time for over 40 years. Another African-American man of science is George Washington Carver. Born a slave in 1860, Carver became a master of agriculture by developing more than 300 products from the peanut plant, more than 75 from the pecan, and 115 products from the sweet potato. Thomas Edison tried to hire this genius away from Tuskegee Institute with a tempting salary of $100,000 a year, but Carver respectfully declined. Have you ever wondered how a pacemaker works? This device uses electrical impulses to stimulate the heart and to create a steady beat. But the control unit for this life-saving equipment was created by Otis F. Boykin, an African-American inventor. Boykin created several electronic innovations, including resistor chips used in radios and televisions. But the pacemaker control unit is his most famous invention. In October of 2010, the whole world watched as 33 Chilean miners were rescued after being trapped underground for more than 2 months. But a similar rescue took place nearly 100 years earlier, thanks to Garrett Augustus Morgan, creator of the gas mask. In 1916, Morgan used his mask to rescue 29 men trapped in a tunnel 300 feet beneath Lake Erie. Unfortunately, Morgan was not recognized for his heroic rescue because he was black. Eventually, in 1963, Morgan was awarded a diamond-studded medal for his act of heroism. Frederick McKinley Jones is the most important black inventor ever, holding more than 60 patents in a variety of industries. The former garage mechanic invented the first snowmobile in 1919. Toward the end of the 1920s, he created devices that converted silent movie theaters into talkie theaters. He even created the first ticket dispensing machine. Jones built the first refrigerated truck for transporting food across the country. And he's also credited for building the first portable X-ray machine. Did you know the first millionaire in the United States was a black woman? She was born Sarah Breedlove Walker, but history knows her as Madam C.J. Walker. In 1905, she invented the popular pomade treatment used for pressing black hair. The Madam C.J. Walker Manufacturing Company employed over 3,000 people, and Madam C.J.'s personal wealth was estimated at over $1 million, which is equivalent to $10 million in today's market. She was an avid supporter of the black community by donating to numerous charities, including the NAACP. Every time we get in our cars and shift gears or turn on the blinker to make a turn, we should thank Richard Bowie's spikes. This brilliant inventor created directional signals for automobiles in 1913 and changed the world of transportation safety. He later went on to create the automatic gear shift in 1932 and the automatic transmission in 1933, revolutionizing the automotive industry around the world. Rheumatoid arthritis is a debilitating and painful disease, but a black scientist by the name of Percy LaVon Julian is responsible for easing the suffering of millions of patients. Julian and his team created a synthetic cortisone substitute that was just as effective in relieving pain, but at a much cheaper cost. He held over 100 patents, and his groundbreaking work earned numerous awards and honors. Shortly after his death in 1975, Julian was inducted into the National Inventors Hall of Fame. Almost everything we know about Black inventors is because of the work of a virtually unknown Black historian named Henry Edwin Baker. Born just before the Civil War in Mississippi, Baker became one of the first Black examiners in the U.S. Patent Office. He was fascinated by the number of inventions from minds of color and set out to tell the world that Blacks were indeed capable of creating with their minds. Baker discovered over 1,200 Black inventors and wrote a book called The Colored Inventor, which was released on the 50th anniversary of the Emancipation Proclamation. There are several Black history makers from right here in Chattanooga. One of the most prominent was Dr. Emma Rochelle Wheeler, the first Black female physician in Chattanooga and founder of Walden Hospital, the first hospital for African Americans. The 30-bed facility opened in 1915 and was staffed by 2 house doctors, 3 nurses, and accommodated 17 other physicians and surgeons. The hospital closed in 1952 and remains a historic landmark here in Chattanooga. One of Chattanooga's Black history-making families has been in business since the horse and buggy days.
My dad, G.W. Franklin, was the first African-American undertaker in Chattanooga. Having come here from Rome, Georgia, he was in blacksmithing and real estate and opened up a funeral home, the first African-American funeral home in Chattanooga, as I indicated. It was during the horse and buggy days when he got his start. Horse-drawn hearses and horse-drawn carriages that carried people. The hearses carried the people, and hearses carried the bodies, of course. And he owned 2 cemeteries. One was named Pleasant Garden and East View, both of which were over the ridge. He died in 1928. I was 6 years old. And my stepbrother, Ben Franklin, operated the business after he died, and Ben died in 1936. And my sister-in-law, Ida Bell, and my sister, Mabel Franklin, operated the funeral home after he died. And Ida Bell went out of business, and Mabel continued. She bought the old J.F. Trimble funeral home at the corner of University and East 9th Street, which Mr. Trimble was the second Black undertaker in Chattanooga. She bought that business, and then when they widened East 9th Street and moved that building down midway on University Street, she moved up on Central Avenue, 812 Central Avenue. I came home from school in '51 and was working some with her, and I was also in the school system. In 1952, we formed the Franklin Strickland partnership with Reuben Strickland and Fred Reynolds and my sister and myself. And we operated that from 1952 until 1990, which time we sold the place to a larger corporation, and we maintained some stock in it in the hope of expanding the situation to some other cities. My son, of course, had come home, had gone to embalming school, and had come and was working with us in the business from 1983 until 1900, and we all maintained stock in the business after it was merged into a larger corporation. But in the back of my mind, I sort of felt like I needed to pull out and sort of establish another funeral home, which was, I had planned, my wife and I made plans before she died, and considering my son Duke and of course my daughter Cheryl, and went back to the family-owned operation in the name of the John P. Franklin Funeral Home, 1101 Dodge Avenue. And we've been here now 3 years. I think we have some pictures. Well, we have some pictures from the horse and buggy days up until now. And my daughter Cheryl Franklin Key is also a licensed funeral director. And so the three of us now are operating the John P. Franklin Funeral Home on Dodge Avenue. And of course, we've been very privileged to find some support for us, and we're prayerfully grateful for that. And I'm the president, Duke is the vice president, and Cheryl is the secretary and treasurer. We're sorry she couldn't be here for this interview, but she's away out of the city at this time. But I think we've got a few pictures which might show a little bit of the time spent between 1894 and 2011.
You know, it's often said that the children are our future. That's why it's so important to encourage them to learn, to create, to discover their own destinies and make a difference in the world. Earlier this year, I had the opportunity to interview Pastor W.C. Hunter about his work with young people in our community. Creator of the world-famous Le Rocchettamello barbecue sauce, an entrepreneur, yet you found the time to create these two programs, Young Men Making a Difference and Young Ladies Destined for Greatness. What was your motivation in starting these programs?
Well, I saw so many of young people, ladies especially, that their life had gone down the drain, seemed to have no hope. And I said, I know what they need. They need wisdom.
Yes.
They need knowledge, and they need understanding. They need somebody to take time with them. You know, and I said, well, my time is their time.
There are 30 to 40 kids in each group, and I understand they meet each week here at your recreation complex. What kind of activities are they learning?
Well, we try to provide them with different organizations like doctors, lawyers, a variety of knowledge, people with knowledge that can give them, and if they can just only take it in and obey what they learn.
Right.
You know, this is very important.
That is important.
Operating what they know.
Hi, everybody, and welcome back to Everyday People. We're joined now by Isaiah Brown, who is a member of Young Men Making a Difference. How you doing, Isaiah?
I'm doing great.
And also Miss Jamaica Love, who is a member of Young Ladies Destined for Greatness. I want to thank you both for joining me. And Isaiah, let me begin with you. What's the greatest life lesson that you've learned being a member of this organization?
Well, the greatest life lesson that I've learned is responsibility.
Oh,
Responsibility
great.
is a major part of our life. We have to start out while we're young, work our way up.
Excellent, excellent. And Jamaica, what about you? What kind of impact has Young Ladies Destined for Greatness had on your life?
The biggest impact on my life would definitely be the importance of knowledge. People seek after people with knowledge, and knowledge, you can change the world for the better.
Absolutely. You guys are learning some great things in this organization, and we just want to thank you both for joining us today.